All right, this is the meeting of the Wellfleet Housing Authority for March 4th, 2021. First on our agenda, Richard's beautiful minutes, which I apologize I don't have ready to put up on the screen, but I'm sure you've all read them. And has anybody noticed any additions or changes? Richard, you're on mute, Richard.
Am I on now?
Yes, you are.
Okay, there were a couple of typos that I cleaned up, that's all.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of February 4th? I see I said 2020 on my agenda. 2021.
Feels like a long 2020. I move that we approve the minutes as presented.
A second.
I second.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Gary?
Aye.
Mia?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Elaine? Aye. Thank you, as always, Richard. I would like to try to move this meeting through as in an hour or under, because I'm putting everything together for 95 Lawrence Road to get in to the town by noon today. So I'm gonna kind of keep pushing. Bills, Gary.
I have a number of bills to seek approval. The first one is to the CDP for the technical assistance. They've actually given us 3 months worth of bills for $1,650, $700, and $1,630, which, or if I wrote it down wrong, $1,650, which brings the total to $4,000. So I seek a motion to approve paying monthly CDP bills up to $4,000.
So moved. I'll move that.
Second.
Any more discussion? You have it, Richard?
Just clarification, Gary, is the $4,000 sufficient, or do you want it broken down into the 3?
Well, you could say 3 monthly bills totaling less than $4,000.
Okay, got it.
But we're paying $4,000, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at my handwriting saying, is that a 3 or a 5? So that's all. I may be off by $20. So,
Okay,
but that's why I say up to 4,000.
okay.
So it's been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? Gary and I have a weekly check-in with them, and they're working on a lot of things for us. I think it's well worth it. I'm glad we're doing it. So all in favor? I'll call around. Gary?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Mia?
Aye, sorry.
Elaine? Aye. Thank you. Okay, next. What's next, Gary?
I think Gary
I think he froze. He
he
froze.
froze.
Okay. What else can we talk about? Okay, that was that one. One of the ones we just got that I'm not sure Gary did get, but we had said we would pay. Oh, he's back.
You know what is so strange? I'm not frozen on my own screen. I mean, anyway, be that as it may, it doesn't matter. Regular rental assistance in the amount of $1,897. That's a $100 reduction. And Richard, just for clarification, the one person is going to stop after April or continue?
We're gonna make a determination on that
Well, not yet. Okay,
for probably 4 months, Gary, until we get to the summer season. If the summer employment resumes, they'll go off.
okay,
We'll
very
have
good.
to figure something else out.
Okay, so the regular rental assistance of $1,897 for the month of April.
I move that we pay the regular rental assistance for the month of April.
Very good.
A second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Gary,
Aye.
Richard,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Mia,
Aye.
Elaine, aye. Great, okay.
We have a request to pay emergency rental assistant reimbursement to Homeless Prevention Council in the amount of $3,187.50. I would only note here, we are going to end up paying out, if we continue on at this rate, for the families affected. We had established a maximum of 6,000, and we will pay that out in the first 4 months. So we'll have to reevaluate either the program limits or what we're going to do with folks. But that is the request for 2 families for emergency assistance. Both are single parent families with children.
Okay, I move we pay $3,187.50 in emergency housing assistance to the Homeless Prevention Council.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Gary,
Aye.
Richard,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Mia,
Aye.
Elaine, aye.
The last one that I have is, you recall that we agreed to pay for reimbursement for people taking the first-time homebuyers class who either lived or worked in Wellfleet, and we have our first person seeking that reimbursement. It's for $100. And that would be paid to Bloom, is that her name?
It's Lara Henry.
Lara
Yeah.
Henry, thank you very much.
Okay, I move we pay $100 to reimburse Lara Henry for the first-time homebuyers course.
I second.
Any more discussion? That was the way we have to do it because they pay online and they pay to 2 separate, they pay to the company CDP uses and to CDP. So we couldn't just pay that scholarship. It had to be a reimbursement. So
And is that the total cost, Elaine, or is there another charge?
it's 100 is the total.
Okay,
It's 75 and 25 that they pay. Okay, all in favor, Gary,
aye.
Richard,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Mia,
Aye.
Elaine, aye.
I have no other bills to submit. Elaine, have you looked recently in the folder whether we have any other?
No, I'll do that tomorrow.
Okay.
I should have done that before the meeting. I keep forgetting that, but I
Okay.
can't think we have anything else.
I can, if you would like, ask Mary Rogers to check for us periodically. She's now there.
Yeah, I don't mind as a destination, but yeah, if she wanted to check and alert us, that would be great. Okay, next on the agenda is the Housing Angels project, which I think is wonderful and good things are happening. You want to report on that, Gary?
On the Housing Angels,
Mhm.
so for the spring tax bill, we did get approval for the insert, which we circulated before. It's the little dancing guys asking for help. Thank you to, is that Sharon, did you do that or did Oh, she's muted.
You're on mute, Sharon. You're muted.
Well, that's all right.
I didn't need you to hear me making tea. Yeah, I did the first and chimed on wording, and Olga did the formatting.
Very good.
So a
Olga
true
and
group
Karen,
effort.
Yes, a joint effort. Thank you very much. We did seek approval by the select board and they did approve it. And I did talk to the tax collector and we should be all set for having that included with the spring tax bill mailing. There is an effort underway by the partnership to do additional marketing around that, both in the form of electronic marketing as well as doing a brochure and mailing. And I think that will be later in the spring.
Yeah, I think we decided to hold off a little bit to see what happens with this ADU petition.
Yes, yes. So I think it's probably going to be an early summer thing.
And we, I think it's kind of a precursor. We do have a beautiful donation in the works from the estate of Catherine Stillman. Town Hall was contacted that Catherine's estate or whatever, her will bequest, she's bequesting $25,000 to affordable housing.
Nice.
So she gets the first pair of wings.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that would actually be to the new trust, Harry.
Well, we hope so. Right. Harry, have you had any more?
We think. No, it's nothing else.
Okay, yeah. So that's wonderful. And I do think it's going to be effective. I really like what you've all done. Thank you so much. Next on the agenda is the Wellfleet Affordable Housing Trust, our new trust. We got notice of a technical assistance grant for trusts that Mass Housing Partnership has put out. We talked in the trust and decided it was worth applying for this program, which would lend 6 months of technical assistance to 2 communities across the state, either to help them form a new trust or help them work with an existing trust. And we kind of felt with our 3 housing groups and this new trust, this might be a great way to work on that whole picture and potentially an action plan. So the CDP has written the grant for us. Harry is the lead contact on it as chair of the trust, and is due tomorrow, but I think they were sending it in today. So keep your fingers crossed. You want to say anything else about the trust, Harry?
Just very briefly, had an exchange with council about the special legislation to dissolve the old housing trust, and I think we have I think we are now on the same page. I was a little concerned that the original draft seemed to have the new trust established by the legislature, which I thought was a bad idea. And I think both Maria and I are of like mind, and we've communicated that back to council. We also have drafts of a declaration of trust and a bylaw, which are on the trust's agenda to review on March 15th. I think they need a lot of work myself, but I'll withhold judgment until the trust has had a chance to look at those in a meeting. And we're waiting for the audit to be complete, so we'll know what is available in the way of funds that can be transferred to the trust, and that's it.
Harry, we are in March. Have you heard any more about an end date for the audit?
I haven't. I had understood it was toward the end of March rather than the beginning, but I don't know anything further.
And since I mentioned Mass Housing Partnership as part of this, I just don't know. I think I forwarded all of you the email about the Massachusetts Housing Trust listening tour. And their one for the Cape and Islands is going to be March 18th. If you can join in on that, that would be great. I remember one years ago where it actually was held at the Wellfleet Library. And as part of that listening tour, the new state grant for small scale development came out of it. So it's a really valuable way. It's mostly hearing, they listen to the issues people in the smaller towns are having and what can be done. So I think it's a valuable thing to do if you have the time. I knew that was going to happen. There we go.
Yep.
Anyway, okay. Next on the agenda is the ADU bylaw. Sharon and myself and Helen and Olga have been just trying to arm wrestle something onto paper. And I think it still needs work, but we want feedback from people at this point. And so it's going to go out. The building inspector, health department. We'd love Harry to take a look at it.
I will.
Okay. And then I think once we get feedback, that's when we'll bring it to the housing groups. Happy to share it as is, but I don't know, Sharon, what your feeling is about that. I think we could wait and
Well,
try to.
We have a meeting set up with the Housing Partnership on the 18th. And, I'd love to be able to send it out before then for people just to have an opportunity to read over it without commenting or anything. But I would like to have a first round of responses because, there are, as you know, I'm not entirely satisfied with it. And I feel like changes aren't going to be able to be made until we get a little more feedback from other sets of eyes.
Yeah, we have looked at so many other bylaws of other towns. We've looked at, the model bylaw. Sharon has researched all across the country. And there are aspects of it that are, really kind of complicated, and we can imagine what the wording might be to make it possible. But I don't know. Sarah, I was curious about your thoughts about the AD. I think in the past we agreed we wanted to support going, with an ADU bylaw. The one we're putting forward, the intent is to replace the ADU bylaw because we have the special legislation that allows people to get the tax break if they're renting affordably. So we felt one bylaw could cover both. And when the planning board was still involved, Jerry indicated the town council thought that was a viable path too. We want it to be by right, as long as it meets all the requirements, but of course people can apply for a special permit if it doesn't. We'd actually like the size and the number of them to be determined by the lot. Most ADU bylaws have sizes and numbers and how many bedrooms and how many people can live in them. We're trying to write one that really uses the zoning bylaws to determine what can be done, if that's the accurate way of explaining that, Sharon.
I thought we were still kind of limiting it to 1,200 square feet.
I think we have it in there. Yeah.
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 And that would be my preference because I think that's the way to keep it more affordable as intended. Even then it'll still be market rate, but it won't be like a enormous house if someone had a lot of land or something. But yeah, the tricky spots are, we'd like for, I think this is the trickiest piece for me. We'd like for it to not require that the owner live on the property. We'd like it to be so that if the ADU is rented year round and that's shown to the town with an affidavit, a lease, or whatever kind of documentation would make it, enforceable, then the primary house might still be able to be rented out, or the homeowner or the property owner could live in that full time, could rent it part of the time, could do whatever they wanted with it. Or the property owner could live in the ADU but that would only be if the principal dwelling was then rented year round. So it's kind of confusing to explain. So I don't know how we'll ever get it written in the bylaw. But I thought the line that as long as one of the, as long as there was only one non-ADU on the property, and then everything else would have to be rented year round, regardless of which structure it was. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tricky one, but if we could do it, great. If not, it might. What I've been reading of ADU bylaws all across the country are that, even though they've been around for a long time, they're still evolving, and towns keep changing them as they see what works, what doesn't work.
Mostly changing them in the direction of less restrictive.
Right.
Because they want to encourage this as a development.
Yeah, and we want to have a enforcement tool in there that makes sense, that can be clear and applied by the town. That's been one of the criticisms of the AADU, but I kind of think that criticism's been overblown in a way, because we do have at least 12 affordable ADUs, and that's not nothing. So onward, we'll see.
Well, can I just, it seems like you guys are having an internal conversation.
Sorry.
No, it's hard for anyone to respond. So at some point you need to say, okay, here's what we want to go public with to get the feedback. I guess the other thing is I would make sure that before you did that whether it's the building inspector or the health agent, get their feedback to make sure that what you're proposing is viable in terms of the other regulations that we have. But also, is there any hope of actually having it done by the planning board? Is a question I would make sure we have exhausted, because in terms of garnering support at town meeting, a planning board comes up and says, we're against it for the following reasons, regardless of what those may be. It creates a dichotomy. And I'm just wondering if there's any way to eliminate that.
You want an answer now? I don't believe there is.
Okay.
Can I ask Gary's question another way? Sarah, can you achieve at least maybe planning board neutrality? If not support, not opposition?
My understanding of the planning board's reluctance to even discuss this is what they've said is that there's a number of septic issues and things, and what they're saying is that there's so few properties in town that would be eligible given all of the regulations around it, that it's not worth doing. It's not worth pursuing. What we've been saying is that even if it gained us 3 or 4, that's not nothing. So
Yeah, I think we fully would support showing what we've done to the planning board. I mean, yeah, and ideally, if it goes through the process, there will be a public hearing, we hope. I mean, I think it's very important,
yes,
for the
well,
public.
we'll have one even if they don't.
It's also my understanding that the planning board's opposition to it is not totally unanimous. I thought that there were members of the planning board who were interested. So I don't see them coming to town meeting and saying, we vote 8-0 that we hate this and we don't want to talk about it. I think that if they present any kind of formal opposition, it's going to be somewhat mitigated by the fact that they're not entirely one voice, I think. Am
Yeah,
I-
I think you're right.
Sarah, did you have? Did I
So I
see? your hand up?
thought, or, I mean, I've sort of thought that the ADU is an excellent idea since we started talking about it, because I think it would self-regulate if you're renting year round. I think there's naturally going to be a seal. I mean, all this is stuff that we've sort of talked about, but my support hasn't changed. And I think there's a lot of natural, you have the Board of Health restrictions, you have your Title V, you have all of these things that are going to regulate it anyway. And I think, hasn't it been done very successfully in Brewster? How many units do they have there? Does anyone know that?
I have that information somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm just curious because if we can sort of say, this town has done it or this town has done it and this has been the result, that might help as well, right?
Often we're told that we're not every other town because we
Oh,
don't. have-
well, we are and we're not after all.
Brewster has their bylaw. When it came to town meeting, it was accepted with the change of applying a limit to how many they could approve every year, like 20,
Gotcha.
20 like residents, 20 on single family properties and 20 on commercial properties, something like that.
Well, wouldn't we be happy if we had to limit it to 20 and we hit the limit? That would be great.
Well, as of March 2020, Brewster had 9 total.
Okay.
So, and I think they passed their bylaw in 2018.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good rate for them. Yes.
Yeah.
Does Brewster have town water and town septic?
I don't think they have.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Sarah.
I was going to say they have town water. I don't believe they have any municipal septic.
They have town water everywhere?
Everywhere, well, I'm not an expert in Brewster, but West Brewster, the Punkhorns, areas like that don't. They're still on wells, but I think the majority of the town is on town water.
Is the adoption of the bylaw any different if it comes from the planning board versus a petition article?
The planning board says that they'll write it better.
I mean, other than that, I mean, in terms of the AG approval or in terms of it actually getting implemented?
No, there's no difference. There is a, there's a process that starts with filing it with the select board, who have to refer it to the planning board. They're supposed to hold a hearing on it. They're supposed to make a report to town meeting. But once all that happens, whatever town meeting does, it doesn't really matter how it got there. It's how the town's voted.
Sharon, I'm a little unclear on when does a petition have to be in? Is that what you were talking about, the deadline we're not sure about?
Yes, and I mean, Harry just eased my mind by saying that the select board can put it in. It doesn't matter, the deadline doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah, right up until the moment they sign it, they can change it. They can add articles.
Mhm.
So I feel a lot better knowing that, because it's been murky, and well, it's a little, not being a real town government person, it feels inexplicable to me. But I'm happy for Harry's feedback on that.
I'm really just hoping for a very positive discussion on the possibility of this, the need it would fill, how it can be a benefit to the town, and have a chance to talk about all those things publicly, before, if possible. So
Yes.
we will carry on.
Maybe in the interest of putting a stake in the ground is we have a partnership meeting on the 18th to discuss it. So we would need the material no later than the 15th.
That's
Yeah.
a good, that's a
Final-
good deadline.
And also in order to give the housing authority full opportunity to discuss it, do you want to make that a joint meeting, Elaine?
That might be a good idea.
Don't have to decide now,
Right.
but we
Yeah.
should decide at the end of the meeting.
We haven't had one in a while too,
No,
so,
and that
I
would
think
be,
that'd be a great idea.
yeah, so there's that possibility. So I'll give you both a deadline and a forum.
thank
doing
you.
it.
Good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Project updates, the buy down program, the deadline is tomorrow for applications. CDP has only received one complete application so far, but they've had 30 inquiries and, you know, a lot of people interested. So hoping they're gonna be flooded with them today and tomorrow. So at our next meeting, we may be approving someone for a buy down. Any questions, any more on that? 95 Lawrence Road is going to be on the agenda for the select board meeting Tuesday night. We're hoping to get their final approval to issue the RFP. It's a big packet. I'll forward it to all of you. It's a Dropbox thing that has the entire RFP and all the attachments. It needs a few tweaks, but I'm not sure MHP is going to get it done by noon today, but at our 95 Lawrence meeting yesterday, it really was indicated that you can keep making some adjustments up until all the proposals are due, as long as everybody that's applying gets all the information. So it's not, we hope it's not major. I think it's pretty minor. So whatever I have at noon today, before noon, we'll be going into the town with a cover letter, just kind of urging their approval, because this is the timeline. If we miss this deadline by much more time, the developer will miss the first funding round. And they were so positive when we took just the draft to them. I think we'll be good.
I can report that we did get a response back from Kurt Felix that there is a draft warrant article in discussion, at least for town meeting in June, to fund the wastewater treatment facility, which would be a terrific indication both of the town's commitment to the developer, as well as keeping pace with the timetable that's been proposed.
Great. Yeah, that's great. Good, they're working on it. And Maria indicated that Maria Broadbent came to the 95 Lawrence meeting, which was great, as did Harry, who is going to be on the evaluation committee. Both of them added to the task force. And what was my thought about that? Oh, I think she has requested that the select board have a working discussion about the wastewater issue, getting ready to do this. So maybe we can crash the party. Next on the agenda is the down payment program. And sadly, I have to report that the down payment we authorized, it fell through. And so the money will be returned to the town, unfortunately. Yeah. So we hope that,
Elaine, wasn't that the house on the highway, the vet's house?
yes,
And they can't move forward?
there was complication with it. It was Sarah, it was the what do you call it? Not assessor. It was assessed or
Appraised?
as a commercial property,
Oh,
which I mean, some people feel that, was it the bank didn't give them the information they should have had right up front. And as all this was getting worked out, somebody offered cash, and the house was sold to the person offering full value cash.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. But those same folks are going to apply for the buy down. They had all their
Oop.
information together from the down payment assistance. So
They're a lot more organized than they were before.
yeah, right. They've learned a lot. We've learned a lot. So disappointing to hear though. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Sarah, is there any update on availability of places to?
Yes, I can report we have nothing for sale anywhere. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be joking, but it's getting harder, not easier. And I'm hoping it's temporary. You know, I'm hoping things ease, but for now there's absolutely nothing. You know, if we grant a buy down, we don't have a house. I'm sorry.
We also don't have any rentals, correct?
We have nothing. I mean, I think, I don't even want to say out loud that I might have made a local match for a year-round rental. I don't even want to like jinx it. I'm going to knock wood in my kitchen right now. It's just all so very hard right now. You know, it just is. And it's got to change, you know? I mean, if one thing we can rely on, things shift, but for now it's very harder than I've ever seen it here.
Sarah, do things shift back in the other direction? I mean, so example, housing prices are like astronomical right now.
Mhm.
And we've seen like boom and bust cycles before. Do we think that eventually the prices will come back down to some point?
You know, it's so hard to predict, and I'm certainly not the person that would be best qualified to predict, you know what I mean? I don't even know how you begin to know. I mean, I would say, I suspect that we may have seen sort of a jump up in appreciation that may stick around for a little while, but I can't imagine that actually the lack of inventory can stay the same, you know what I mean? That's got to shift. I mean, we don't have, I think there's maybe 10 houses on the market, period, in Wellfleet, instead of 60. So I guess I think the jury's out. I mean, there are things right now that are selling at such high prices that I can't believe that would be sustainable. You know what I mean? They
Mhm.
seem related to the lack of inventory. So I feel like that will have to shift. But in terms of whether it shifts back down to where we were a year and a half ago,
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe not.
This is all really rich territory to mine for our 3 housing groups. And if we do our technical assistance trying to establish priorities and budgets and
Yeah.
funds, you know, they're really addressed.
You know, the whole idea of the buy down was to use existing structures and not put additional pressure on both land and water and septic. But if it doesn't have a viable inventory, maybe we need to shift back to what are the creative ways that we can use to build home ownership, whether that's habitat or some other method. And in that regard, maybe Sarah, we can revisit that list of properties and sending a letter to folks.
I was just going to say the same thing, Gary. Let's get
Yeah.
that letter out.
Yeah, so maybe between now and our next meeting, we could
Do
work
it.
on something.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
my anecdotal unscientific assessment is that when people make decisions to buy houses, they make them based on what they can afford. And with interest rates low, mortgage payments become low, you can borrow more money, you can pay more. And I seem to see house prices moving sort of in the opposite direction of interest rates. The higher interest rates go, the higher your monthly payments go. So the smaller mortgage you're willing to take out and the less you're willing to pay for property.
I can't hear Harry. Is anybody else having trouble, or is that
You were just cutting in and out yourself, Sarah.
No scientific study to back that up, but it's just from looking at them for 30 years.
Sarah, I've been hearing a lot of people are just showing up with cash.
I think
Cash off.
Sarah fell out of Zoom.
Yeah, I think she's
Sure,
going to try to come
disappeared.
back in because of,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I talked with one or two real estate brokers that I've known for a long time, and then they're seeing cash offers above asking prices. You know, I had a client years ago who made an offer on a property, and to induce the seller to sell, she put down the entire purchase price as a cash deposit
Mhm.
with her offer to purchase.
Yep.
You know,
Hard to
it's
beat.
tough to compete with that.
Yep. Okay, that's coming back in.
Sorry, guys, I just got sort of booted out.
Yeah.
That's-
Um,
Sarah, why don't we work on a draft letter and strategy for next meeting, if that's okay?
Yeah, do you want me to try my hand at drafting something?
Sure, if you want to put something together and we can knock it out,
Absolutely.
sounds good. And we have a list now
Yeah,
of potential, at least where we can ask.
sure.
Okay, thanks, Sarah.
Great. I just got an email from Katie at MHP that she's making the corrections right now. So yay. Glad I waited. Okay, I put recommend town meeting articles because at the Community Preservation Committee meeting, we did that, but maybe it's premature until we get that request from the town.
Elaine, we did get feedback. We were originally going to be on the March 9th. CPC was going to be on the March 9th, but they pushed that back. They have so many things. So
Right, yeah.
if you want, we can do it now, but I think we can wait and do it the next meeting.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good to me. We got a request to send in a support letter for the Cape and Islands CDBG rehab and childcare grant, which this year Wellfleet is part of. We missed a year or two. And Gary received that request. And,
Am I doing that?
well, you have I mean, I can do it. You did it last year because I was in Mexico.
Right.
I can take that letter and send it in if everybody is supportive of sending that letter in support of the grant. Do we need a motion? Do we need a motion on something like that?
You saw the note from Suzanne, which I don't know why Suzanne was doing it, but that we did get the block grant for this year.
Mhm. Yes.
So for everybody, this is the rehab program up to, I think it's 30 or 35,000, I can't remember. That's can borrow at attractive rates to rehab homes that we had a few years ago. And I believe we're now on the one that's being administered by Dennis. And I'm not exactly sure whether if it's CDP or not that's doing that, but those will shortly become available.
Gary, do you remember if you did a separate letter from the local housing partnership last year, or can we make it a joint letter?
I believe we did a joint letter. Elaine, I can send you the letter we sent.
I think I have that because the person who asked for the letter sent the one from last year.
Okay.
Okay, but I'm just going to move that the Housing Authority support sending a joint letter with the local housing partnership in support of the CDBG rehab and childcare grant.
I second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Gary,
Aye.
Richard, writing away. Sarah,
Aye.
Mia.
Aye.
Great. Unfortunately, I think once again, it's been several years. They used to offer the same thing for creating an accessory dwelling unit, but that's not part of it. I don't know if it is this year or not. Would have jived well with our ADU push. Any topics anybody wants to suggest for, well, we'll probably our joint meeting that will pretty much be focused on the ADU. We can do the Angels. Sarah, when we talk about that, maybe we mean for our April meeting for what you're going to do, or is March 15th at all an option for you to put something together about land?
March 15th, what are we at? March 4th?
Yeah.
Sure. What are you thinking of, Elaine?
Well, Gary, what was it that you were?
This was we have a list of property that is vacant
Vacant and buildable.
and buildable, even though it may not be on the market. And our thought was to send a letter just saying, if there's interest, we're in the market and we'd be happy to talk.
Mhm.
And I don't remember how many, Sarah, but was it, let's say that the population is less than 50 possible people to send that letter to.
I think it was more, Gary, because I think
Okay.
first we were filtering it by lot size and looking only at larger parcels and things like that. And then I think Harry said, just cast a wide net, send it to everybody. And I think we all agreed that would be wise.
Great. So
Okay.
actually, Sarah, that would be good because we could have it come from both groups and
Sure.
maybe the trust as well, which actually the trust would be the purchaser of any potential property. So we have a meeting on the 15th. And I think if we can put this on the agenda, we can certainly circulate that. So if you have something by then, that'd be great.
What
Why
time is
don't-
that meeting, Gary?
The 15th, it's at 5:30 is the Housing Trust. And the 18th is the Housing Partnership. And that's also at 5 o'clock.
March 18th is the partnership.
Right. So do you want to make a motion that be our next meeting, Elaine? Or do you want a motion?
Well, I think we can just say our next meeting will be a joint meeting.
Okay.
Okay. 10:52. Well done. Okay, if any of you are able to tune in to the select board meeting Tuesday night, I have the feeling it's going to be a long one, but I hope that our part of it will go quickly and positively.
There's actually, in terms of the RFP, there is a session tomorrow at 10 o'clock that Laura Schufeld is doing for the CDP on RFPs.
Yep.
And have you all received that notice?
I have.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I
All right.
did.
So if you have an interest, that's roughly 10 to 12.
I think you have to register for it.
You have to
right?
register, right? That's what I was going to say. If you haven't received the invite, I'll have to send it.
It's
Gary,
amazing.
is that the one with, I thought there were like 4 dates. Am I wrong about that with regional?
That might be the listening session.
No,
Listen,
no, no,
Oh,
no.
This
excuse
is
me.
something else.
Wait, yeah, excuse me, something, Sharon. No, this is part of the Housing Institute.
Okay,
and-
okay.
And
okay.
it's separate from the listening session.
Okay.
Whether it covers the same thing, but this is specifically about about RFPs.
I think the April Housing Institute focus is going to be on trusts too, but I haven't seen a notice about that. Anyway, thank you, everyone. I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor, Gary,
Aye.
Richard,
Bye.
Sharon, not Sharon, Sarah,
Aye.
Mia,
aye.
Elaine, aye. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
See you
Thank
all.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.